Hello everybody, Crab here, and last time we built this big fuel power plant. Well, specifically turbo fuel, so we could make 86-ish thousand megawatts of power a minute. I actually don't remember if megawatts are measured in minutes or if it's just a flat rate, but anyways, we built this big thing because we were running out of power and that was a problem. And along with 2,800 turbo fuel, we made a little bit of rubber. I like how I click on the one machine that actively isn't working. But the reason we need all this power is because we need to complete phase 4 or phase 3. I don't really know like what phase we're technically on. But anyways, we're building a big factory to make all these things like radio control units, supercomputers, and other things in this advanced range. Before we built that big fuel power plant, we had built all this, which is our aluminum setup. And I would like to expand on this today. I want to completely gather and refine / smelt down every ingot that we need for the big phase 3/4 factory we're building in this general space right here. Now, a lot of stuff we already have, like iron and copper. It's just spread around this biome. And we've already brought over even more stuff, like this bauxite right here. And we have even more stuff to bring, because this train station right here is bringing caterium and quartz over, although we have nowhere to put it. But it will come eventually. So most of our preparations are complete. Now all we have to do is finalize them. And by that I mean we need to put in a train station in this general area where we can actually dump all of these resources off. And then also build a few refineries, smelters, and constructors to make all of our ingots and other things. But with that being said, the very first thing I do want to do is the train station, because I would like to finalize this area right here. Like I said earlier, we're making our aluminum ingots, and we also have our plastic being produced right here. And we have a bunch of temporary stuff we have laid out, and I want to get rid of it and finalize this area so we can move on to the next area. Okay, I'm thinking of putting the train stations right here. All three of them either have 3 freight platforms or fluid freight platforms. The reason being, we need to bring nitrogen over from our fuel power plant, which is sitting over here. We have a nitrogen node sitting right here and another one sitting right here. So we will gather both of these eventually, but for now we're getting the farthest one and we're bringing our rubber over. So that's going to be split into 3 different cars. Then we have 3 cars for our bauxite right here, and then we have 2 for our quartz and 1 for our caterium from right here. So all of them only need 3, which is mildly convenient. It does mean, however, for stuff like the bauxite, we're gonna have to run more than 1 train at a time, which can become annoying. So if I have to, I will expand it in the future, but for now we're planning on not doing that. So yeah, I think that'll look good. We'll have them facing towards the main train line. And then of course, the actual train tracks themselves are gonna be going over machines that'll be placed right here. Now with that train track, I placed machines and then place the train line in. So we're doing the opposite this time, so it might be a little interesting. We'll see how this train track kind of stops me from building certain things, but that is a problem for the future. I just realized my brain doesn't function. Yeah, so let's have a train station in the middle, but let's leave 0 space for belts. You know those things? The reason we're bringing, stuff, you know how we have to get those resources out of the train? What if we left 0 room to do that? That's a great idea. Okay, these are all going to the side just a little bit more. Okay. I pushed this one farther this way and ran into an cliff. I know, problematic. However, since that cliff is stopping me from putting storage bins here effectively, we're going to make this train station the one that is bringing in our nitrogen gas and rubber. What that'll do is mean I can put big fluid buffers right underneath. Now you might be thinking, why would you put the big fluid buffers right underneath in this tight space? And the answer is, what else am I gonna put here? So we're gonna have 2 fluid buffers, one here and one about here, in line with the fluid freight platform thingies. And then we'll have a normal industrial storage container for our rubber that's coming in. And these will all fit under here, so it'll be a little bit different, but that's okay. Different is good. Different makes things look interesting. And then these 2 will be the normal raw resource train, so we'll just have freight containers on the side. Now, with this, we have an interesting option. We could make a train line come in over top this industrial storage container. Because what we could do is bring it to like here, and it'll be up, well, no, it won't be up there. It'll be about here, I think, right? And then one side has to go down into this train station. So it'll go to about there. Then one side will come down, and we'll have to loop it into here somehow. I really want this to work, but I don't think it's gonna, because this curve is just too weird. Like, this will barely go up 1 foundation. Trying to bring it up 3. Can I do like up a foundation and a half? Please, can I fit a foundation and a half right here? I would be so happy. Oh my god, I can. Wait, can we do the other foundation? Why are you not working? Why do you hate me so? My goofy idea is not gonna work. I'm so mad. No, I really wanted to get a train line through here. No. Well, that sucks. We can't have it go above the freight containers right here. I really wanted it to because I thought it'd be interesting to have it come up and then one side go down and connecting these two and the other side to kind of loop around and go down. It would have looked so interesting. I have a little bit of room right here. I could extend this that way by like another half tile. Now, what if we test it out? What if we see if it works? So again, rail line to about here. And then we'll just put a train station in temp to see if this will work at all. Oh my god. Wait, I think it can work. I think I can get it to work. Would you look at that? My brain. Okay, so we can get to curve on this side, which means we should be able to get it to curve down to here too. I think this isn't working for the same reason it didn't work on this side. I have to extend it over by one, which I really don't want to do. However, for the rule of it'll look absolutely amazing, we're gonna do it. Okay, we can do this. That's all to be said. This is gonna be extended over by a half foundation that way, and then we'll keep the freight container right there. So this one will actually be out way more than it's supposed to be, just so we can have a train line going over it and come down. This is so dumb just to have a raised train line, but we're doing it. It's gonna look awesome. Oh yeah, let's make this cool plan. That'll look awesome. And then I run into this problem where it's just slightly in the way. I've rebuilt this thing 4 times. I gotta do it a 5th one to move it forward by 0.1 of a tile. Oh, looky, it was moved forward, like the slightest amount, like I said. But now we have this pesky line of belts in the way. And the reason this line of belts is here, because we have that temp train station sitting right over there bringing our bauxite in. So I think what we should do now is the rail over top, so we can connect up our bauxite to this train station right here. And then, well, we still have to bring the belt of coal over, but we can make it look much nicer and delete all that over there that's kind of sitting there ugly. Uglily? It's like, I don't know exactly what word, but I think I Englished correctly there. I'm not sure. Now, something very nice is all of these train stations are being fed by that general direction of biome. What I mean by that is I have nothing coming from this direction, which means I don't need to have entrances and exits going both ways. I only have to have an entrance and exit coming and going from this direction. So when we are leaving this train track, we're simply just going to go down, and I think that should work just fine. The curve is fine, and while it will intersect trains a little bit, it's not like too bad. I might lower this like a little bit. Now, the top one, or the entrance, is going to go over a bit more, and then we're going to have the line kind of connect right here and then go back in, because I want to leave enough space for trains to be able to go underneath. So if we put this line in right here, we're basically just fully intersecting our outgoing train lines, and this just looks very stupid. So we're gonna have this one go out a little bit and then down and then connect up back to the train line for all of our oncoming traffic. See, now the question here is how much do I want to hate myself? Because I was like, we'll make it a normal rail line in the middle and then we'll split it off. So then I was like, okay, well, the connections will look like a little wonky, but that's okay. They'll be a little weird, but they'll connect up. They shouldn't be too bad. And then I got to the back here and I'm like, what in the spider web am I making back here? What is happening? What is this? Like, what? I mean, it looks kind of cool. I think, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. Like, this is a very interesting train track. I've never made anything like it before. That doesn't necessarily mean it's good, but I must definitely need to fix this back. This is too much. No one needs this much going on back here. I do wonder if I can, like, bring it up to here and loop it. There we go. It's still like a little weird, and yes, there's definitely clipping, but it's not nearly as bad. We'll leave foundation here just in case we want to change some stuff. Down here, however, I have an idea. See, we can just go to the middle like I did with this one. Hold on, come here. I need you to come down to our level. Then what we can do is we can take this train track and we can bring it down, and we'll put this bottom one also in the middle like this. So they'll do like a little thing. And then, can we connect it? If you don't connect, I'm gonna be so mad. What if I made this, like, curve smaller? I will make this train line work. Can I just, like, bring it down and curve it at the same time? Because I'll do that. Oh my god, I can. How garbage does it look? It's kind of bad. It's not the greatest, but it should make all this look significantly better. Haha! Okay. Now things are still wibbly wobbly, but straighter, which is significantly better for me, because I now have to do the most terrible thing in the world, which is putting struts below all of these. And now we have all the underparts for the railing, so it looks nice and pretty. Over here, we do have a small little issue. There's a tiny bit of clipping. It was a miscalculation on my part, and by that I mean I just didn't even think about it and thought it'd be high enough, and I was wrong. But it's not a big enough problem to justify redoing this entire thing, so we're gonna leave the clipping and ignore it, because why would we think about our problems? Now, of course, these train stations are still floating, so we do need to fix this. But before we do that, I want to bring the bauxite train over here, connect it up, and delete all that stuff like I said I would do earlier, just so I have a clear space to work with. Again, I do have to leave the coal belt, so I'm gonna leave this foundation line right here. And once we start building in this area, I will then wrap it around what I'm trying to build. Now, my bauxite train is this one right here. Luckily, it's on its way, which is good. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to turn off this train station, and we should be able to grab the train itself. Oh, you can't turn off the train station. Okay. We'll wait for it to get here and then just delete this line. So, please go up. Thank you. Since this is being dropped off over here, we now have to redo the belts. Luckily, I don't know if you've noticed, but I did this, and this right here is a mini balancer. So these 3 freight platforms are now equally distributed between these 2 containers right here, and then we can hook up these 2 containers to these 2 belts. Oh, and good, they're all on unload. I thought I forgot to do that. Whatever. So we'll just bring these 2 belts down to like there, I think should be right. And then we'll delete these and connect these ones up instead. Why aren't you reaching? That's so rude of you. 1 and 2, and this should be good. And our bauxite train left. Good. Okay, so now this is all up and running, which means we can leave it alone. Now let's start making these whole things stop floating, because this is kind of getting annoying. I'm going to break somebody's legs. Whose legs? Probably my own. Because why did I do this to myself? I leave tiny gap on the side. What could I have done? Moved it a little bit of a foundation over, so then all the train stations were on the same like grid as the rest of this entire place. But no. I said I'll leave a little bit just so I have this nice gap right here that I can be pissed off about later. Anyways, that's what I discovered. I am putting the supports in. Besides little issue with annoying things, it's going rather well. And also, I'm starting the paving for the front section over here, so I'm bringing out the foundation so we can move on to what we need to do next, which is, you know, all the base ingots. Funnily enough, can I fit a refinery under here? No, that's a little big. Okay. Well, no refinery just means I get to put assemblers down there. The decorations for this train station will be the same as the other one, just like a little bit of something and then concrete pillars that go down. Nothing complicated, very basic stuff. I just want it to look mildly decent when it's off the ground. It's going to be covered up by machines, which will look way cooler than the floating concrete slabs. And now these train stations are starting to look pretty cool. I did this one, like I said earlier, I wanted the stuff to go underneath. I did have to do a wee tad of clipping, but that's okay. It doesn't necessarily look bad. In fact, it looks like these are being supported or supporting the train station above, which I think looks pretty cool. I am intending on leaving this bit as the desert floor, not concreting it over, because I think the orange just looks super nice. But anyway, this is looking good and finished, actually. The train stations are done. They are not extremely detailed. We just did a wall around and then the inverted ramp on all the corners just to add a little bit of something. And then underneath, there's nothing special. It's just big pillars with inverted and then non-inverted ramps. I guess that would be normal ramps, but whatever. So now with our train stations done and we have our bauxite coming in, I guess we do need to get the Caterium quartz from right here, I believe. Yeah. I don't have a train set up for that yet. Maybe we do that real quick. We'll do that. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, come on. Just place. Thank you. And turn on self-driving, and now this train can head off and do things. So with the train off, I think it's time we deal with all the ingots we have to make in this space. I want to make all of them in refineries. Now you might be thinking, is that because it's one of the most efficient ways to make resources? Because we're mixing it with water to make a pure version of it or whatever? No, that's not the reason. I think refineries look cool. And also, I saw this. Now, this right here, which I'm putting in, is a blueprint by Nick, or NG2554 on Reddit. This is a beautiful stacking blueprint with 2 refineries in it, and has 2 different versions, so it's basically flipped, so you can connect them together, and it just looks absolutely fantastic, and I want to do something very, very similar to this. So basically, the plan is you put 2 refineries next to each other, generally. And while this is a 1 input, 2 output blueprint, mine's going to be a 2 input, 1 output blueprint, because of course we're making ingots, so we don't have a byproduct. So it is going to be different. And while this thing looks awesome, and I could straight copy it, the theme is too dark, and it is slightly too detailed for what I'm going. Like for me, all the stuff on the side is a little unnecessary for specifically my style. It looks fantastic, but for me, this does not work. So I'm gonna try, with the best of my abilities, to copy the general idea from this, and then make it a bit plainer and a bit oranger, because straight black just doesn't work. Okay, that took like way too long, but I now have my own versions of the blueprint. Now again, I need to preface this. I am fully stealing this idea right here. Okay, full credit to Nick over here, but I have changed it up quite a bit. I took away the curve so I can make it a little bit flatter, and that also allowed me to use walls, which added some orange to the side. Of course, the base idea of this pillar in the center, which separates both of the refineries, which allows us to add a little bit more detail, but also a place to hide our wiring and a place where we can put fans on the side to add a little bit of detail in. I also have the basic idea of having the frame pillars, well, frame everything on the sides and kind of give it a good amount of structure. And then I also have my inputs coming from the outside of the blueprint, and then I have my outputs going through the inside of the blueprint, which will be connected up later. But now we have to make space to, you know, place them all down, so time to do some more paving. All right, we've done ourselves a little bit of paving, so now we get to place these refinery stacks, and they're gonna look awesome. My plan is we'll have this pit right here be for all of our copper ones. That's a complete lie. I need 60 copper refineries. Each one of these blueprints has 2 refineries in it, and I'm planning on stacking them 3 to 4 stacks tall. So maybe this whole area will be for the lovely copper ones. But for now, we're just gonna generally bring it up to this line right here. And my plan is I want a walkway to be on this side, so we're actually gonna scoot this over a half foundation. And we have plenty of room over here. Perfect. And that should be good for our first one. I need to get myself some power over here so I stop falling. Now, the plan is to separate them by a half foundation. And that should be a half foundation. It's kind of weird to measure foundations because technically speaking, this is the edge of the blueprint, which is on this line, but it doesn't look like it from the rest of this. We're going to measure it from the pillar, though, because I think that's how this side's also measured. Yeah, this side's measured from the pillar. Okay, that's number 2. All right, now let's figure out height. What we're gonna do is grab number B. Yes, number B. B's now a number, guys. And that looks about right. And then we grab A again and put it on top. And with that, that is 3 blueprints stacked and 6 refineries. Now, how tall are you? How stupid do you look? That is not bad, actually. That's exactly the perfect height I wanted. My goal was to do basically like another level above the train station. So if you look, we have our levels. We have our base level, we have our train station level, and I was hoping for one more level above that. And I think the 3 stack is perfect. And the other thing we have to think about is since this bit right here is 3 foundations taller than these refineries, then it'll stick up 3 foundations when we put them behind them. And I want to stagger them because it'll look cool. Okay, so we have 6, 12, 18. We need 60. This is not enough. I'm gonna extend this out as far as I can. And you have to remember we're having a walkway on this foundation, so this is gonna go into the rock a little bit, but it should be okay. Now, I usually don't want massive lines of things. However, I think these stacks will look super, super cool if I can put them in a big line. So I'm specifically doing it. However, this right here kind of seems to be our limit, which is a little problematic because we have a power line in the middle. Whatever. I'll just move it over real quick. Okay, I've decided we're going 4 up. Not because I ran out of room to put 10 rows. No. It's because it looks cool. Definitely. It does actually look awesome. I was coming over from this side over here. Let me show you. If you're way over here in the first area that we built at the very start of this factory, and you look towards the storage hub, look what's just peeking barely above it. It just looks awesome to have that layer up there. So I am gonna make it 4 high because it's going to look absolutely amazing. And the best part, it's not blocking too much. All those rocks over there, they're very hard to make machines on, so we aren't gonna be building much farther that way. This is kind of like the end of the line. I say that I'll end up building that way because I run out of space, but for now it's the end of the line. So for now we aren't blocking much. It's just cool skyscrapers made of steel and refineries. It's awesome. However, now I have to redo some math. Now we have 4 tall instead of 3 tall. So how many rows do we need? 7.5 rows. Now, luckily, we have 7 rows right here. I still need a 0.5. Oh, God. Why not? I need 7.5 rows of 4. So we need 7 rows of 4. And then back here, we could have our 0.5 with the other refinery towers that are making our other ingots that aren't our 2,400 copper. Okay, these 7 rows right here are in, and oh my God, are they tall. Whoa. Oh, this looks absolutely awesome. But these 7 rows are for our 2,400 copper, as I've stated. These 3 stacks right here are going to be for our, what are they called? Why'd I forget? Oh, yeah. The Caterium ingots. We need about 245 of those. So we got 21 refineries we got to stack up. I really wish I had power so I could stop just falling. That'd be nice. And then these last 2 stacks will be for quartz crystals. One of them, we're going to be going 3 high because we need 5.14 refineries. And then our last one will be for iron because we need 400 iron. So this stack will just be a little high probably. Anyways, I'm going to put those in and then do all the belt work because I don't know if you noticed, this doesn't auto connect. I have to manually do everything in here. This is going to be so much fun. It's not. For some reason, this is going to take me like 8 hours just to do some belts, but that's how it works. So now it's all belted up and I have done the ones in the back. They look a little bit weird because they have differing heights because each one is a different resource, but they're all belted up. All the water pipes are connected. All of them have power in the middle. And I changed the blueprint to be Mark 1 pipelines instead of Mark 2 because I started doing math. There's no way I'm going to be stacking any of these to need 600 water to be going up them, especially when we have inputs on both sides. It's just never going to happen. And also, I think the Mark 1s just look better. But these stacks look absolutely beautiful and look absolutely amazing. So now we have to get, like, all the resources over here, which shouldn't be a problem. We already got water and the copper over here, and we're bringing in all those resources onto the train. So really, it's just the belt work of getting it through this space. Before we do some belt work, though, I would like to put the path in that's going in the center right here, just so I know where I'm allowed to use my belts. Now, the question is, do we want to use the walkway I've been using, or do we want to change it up a little bit? I think we'll use the one I've been using. This just makes the most sense for continuity's sake. But also, do I want to put it, like, on the edge? I think on the edge would look the coolest, especially since we aren't going to be looking at it from below. We can have a belt or like a belt or 3 running right here. And then we'll have the other belts running below right here. Now, I've done the math and I need some water, specifically 2,500 water. And I was like, how can I get 2,500 water and make it look cool? And I was like, I have water over there and I need to stop using this temporary setup. And so my brain has now decided we're going to officially grab water from the ocean and bring it towards this big factory area. But I want to do it in a creative and god-awful way that'll take too much time. 'Cause I'm me. Like, what else would I do? So I've made this goofy little blueprint. It's a 9-pipe stand. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do this. And then we're just going to connect it all the way. And then we're going to basically take it through the terrain. And of course, it's all going to be on like the same grid and whatnot, so it'll be a bit more level. But I want to have this like curved blue splash through this orange hell. And I want it to follow like the ground level, so this kind of canyon right here. And then we'll go up and then over towards the ocean over there. But I just think this is going to look absolutely awesome. And I am going to use Mark 1 pipes because they just look better. So anyways, I'm going to spend an hour doing 2 of these. And I'm gonna hate my life after, but it's gonna look very, very cool. Now we have our pipeline following the desert floor. It looks very good. It's a lot straighter than I like kind of described it to be, but it's all on the same level relatively and all part of the same grid, which means it looks nice and very pretty. So right now I have it going to the towers, and then this end over here is heading off this way down this cliff so we can hook it up to some water extractors down here. Now, I kind of have a goofy little plan. This place ain't gonna be anything like complicated or serious at all. Basically, water pipes are gonna go down and then they're gonna go towards water extractors so we can get water. That's about it. All right, it's a bunch of water pipes. It's nothing crazy. There I was enjoying building my big ol' water pipe stack thing, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna make it out of concrete. No one's gonna see it. It doesn't really matter. And I just look over there and it's just my damn coal power plants, very visible, and will be visible by this, and this will be visible by that. So I have to make this place look half decent, which sucks. I think the game plan is we go extra limited on how much detail we want to do. We're gonna go very boring. We'll go unpainted on the concrete, and then all the water pipes are gonna sit on this. And then on the side, extend that a little bit more. And then on the side, we're gonna grab a wall. We'll just go like that. And then maybe we'll just add a beam right there. Why is everything blue? What? No. Bad. Not everything's blue. Calm down. There we go. We have peak lazy proper design right there. And then for the pipes that have to go into the water, I'm thinking we get a 1 meter foundation. Put it like there. And then underneath, we'll grab some metal like that. And then we'll make this gripped metal. And then that's honestly good enough to have pipes sit on it. And then we'll have our water extractors sitting out like so. Oh, yay, all the extractors are in. Yippee! Nah, but I'd say this pipe work looks pretty good. I love when pipes look nice. I love when they look good, and I love working with them. That was a blatant lie. I hate working with them, but when you make it nice, it's fantastic. I don't know if I mentioned it, but we're bringing 5,400 water over to the area. We only need 2,500. The other entire line and pipe is going to be used for water later down the line. I have no idea how much water I'm going to need later down the line, but I'm just grabbing a whole extra 2,500 because you might as well have it. But since all of our water is done, we get our raw resources. And of course, I want to get copper first. Now, we already have that copper node right there, which is being used temporarily. And we have another one right here that we need to grab. And I think I'm just going to bring it along this water pipeline and then connect it up to this lovely mess right here. And then our iron is just coming from these two nodes right here. Who would have guessed? I built the iron refineries directly next to the iron nodes. It's like I planned ahead. I didn't. I'm lying. This was pure coincidence. So to power all of our copper refineries, we need a little over 850 copper. We have 300 right here from a normal node, and we have 600 over there from a pure node that we are bringing over. So 300 copper is divided into each of these stacks 2.5 times, which is extremely convenient because what we have is 7.5 copper stacks. So these 2 stacks right here and this half stack right here is going to be our 300 copper. And then these other 5 copper stacks are going to be powered by that pure node and this impure node right here. Now, I have brought that copper node over on the bus. Well, I guess it's not a bus, it's a belt. I redid the coal belt, properly decorated that coal belt. That goes into the aluminum scrap right here. And then I also brought the copper with it when I was redoing that belt. And so now we have that 600 input coming from right here. So we're going to connect it with this impure copper node and just plug it into these 5 stacks right here. And then for the water, we're just going to kind of willy-nilly our way through it. It will be a little annoying to do belt work because we have a little bit of room down here, but I don't want to do much belt work under the surface of my builds. So what we're going to do is bring the copper and the water pipes along like this. And then since we already have this vertical splitter in, underneath what we're going to do is basically an input into the splitter, and then we'll have the conveyorless come up, and then we will stick a splitter right next to it and have the belt kind of lifted off the ground a little bit. And then for the water pipes, it should be relatively simple. We just have the input coming in from the front right here. So now we got this janky water pipe, which is now a 600. Funnily enough, I make all these pipes and I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. And then for specifically the copper, I only need a little under 600. A little under being 3 less than 600. I need 597. But with the water in, it'll slowly run through this whole system and will slowly turn on all of these wonderful copper refineries right here. And slowly but surely, these stacks will turn on and start spewing smoke everywhere. I've not done anything with the outputs yet, and since this isn't like the aluminum where we have a self-contained line, I'm just gonna leave it alone for now. All these will build up. As you can see, it's already worked rather well. So what I'm gonna do now is wait for all of these pipes to fully fill with water, and I'll probably have to mess with the belts a little bit more because I guarantee there's something wrong somewhere. So 2 things. One, I just redid the front half of these blueprints because I found out I have to make these Mark II pumps. The Mark I pumps would basically push all the water up to like right here, and they wouldn't go farther. So down here, what would happen is the water would stop like right here, and this pump wouldn't be able to lift it. So I just redid all the blueprints, which was super annoying and took like an hour. Well, I did all the front ones. I still have to do these back ones. Along with doing the back ones, we're going to hook up all of the water and raw resources coming in from these trains to then actually turn these ones on. Anyways, we have stuff like Caterium and iron to do. Very certain one of these are quartz, actually. Hold on. No, it's still Caterium. So these 3 right here are Caterium ones, and that last one's our iron one. I guess I'm doing my quartz somewhere else. Okay. it looks like we are finally finished with this place. And I connected all of these refineries up. So we have our Caterium coming from that train station right there. And we have our copper coming from this copper node right here. It goes along these pipes and it goes up and where it needs to go. And then we have this iron miner right here, which goes into these iron refineries. So with that, all of these refineries are on. And this concludes making all of the base ingots that we need for our phase 3 factory. Oh, and just look at them. They're beautiful. I'm so glad I made this blueprint. It's absolutely lovely. But with that finished, it is time to end off this video. I hope you have enjoyed. Next time, we will do all of our constructors and maybe a few assemblers and start making our tier 2 and tier 3 items. Also, the world download is below, so go and check it out if you want to see all these things. I haven't killed anything next to the water recently. Hold on. Hello there. Would you like to die today? Oh, you hit me. Why were you so low? What? How did I one-shot you? Oh, well. Anyways, I will see you all next time when we take all those items and make them, like, into actual useful stuff. Goodbye.